Hello friends and welcome back to the channel. War rewards have been out for a few days now, and folks, if there are three things in life that are absolute certainties, it's death, taxes, and me being late with this video season after season without fail. So we'll cover the rewards first as usual, then we'll dive right into the review portion of the video. Now just a reminder / minor disclaimer for this season's video. SSX was not pushing war this season. Our record reflects that, and our final ranking reflects that as well. We only finished in the Platinum 1 bracket. So the rewards for this season and this video are significantly less than what you are used to seeing from me. That said, we'll still cover them. I think we'll have enough 7-star shards given these loyalty tokens to open a 7-star crystal. And then we have the typical 6-star Nexus selectors, which frankly don't mean much anymore, but they are they're fun to do anyways. So let's take a look at the rewards real quick. The big feature here is the Tier 4 Alpha Fragments. I think this amounts to 75% of a catalyst. I think I have 7 in my inventory right now. I've been banking rank 3s for a couple champs that are coming out in the next month or so. Actually, I think the Deathless She-Hulk is available starting today, and she's one of them. So saving for some of those champs. This will not give me enough for an 8th catalyst, but I think I can make up the difference with the glory from AQ, which ends today as well. And then the other thing is we get some 7-star signature stone crystals. I think I have 10 of these already in my inventory. These are typically what I pick from the daily super event, because they're the only thing that I really can't get anywhere else at the moment. So I already traded in my loyalty tokens for 7-star shards, so we can go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead, pop that on the spinner here. Not really sure what I'm looking for here. A new Warlock would be great. I still don't have a 7-star Warlock. A dupe on Red Skull would also be great. Just hoping for something that might be useful in this upcoming war season, or for one of the Karina's challenges that I have yet to do here. So 7 stars getting us a dupe on Man-Thing. Heck yeah! That is fantastic. Man-Thing I have already at rank 2. I really like the regen that he gets from the dupe. I think it's the regen when he's below 50%. So that's a great pull. Love seeing those platinum stars on a 7-star champ. Super happy with that pull. So I think that's it for the rewards. So let's jump right in to the review. All right, let's start off with the season summary. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, SSX finished Platinum 1. We were ranked 45th overall, which is a pretty high placement considering we went 2-7 over the course of 9 wars. I'm not really sure what that says about the way that the scoring system works, but we were in Tier 1 the whole time. We didn't fall out into Tier 2, which is probably the primary reason why we were still in Platinum 1. But either way, I'll take that for sure. In terms of kills for me, I was trying to take as many fights as I could throughout the season. There were some wars where I just couldn't path myself more than I had. There were some wars where people were stealing fights from me. Not really too upset or concerned about that, but I was trying to go deathless through this season. Managed to not do that. I blew it in the second to last war against that Mysterio there on 49. And yeah, 48 kills. Pretty happy with that overall for a 9-war season. Not sure what that comes out to if we had played a full season. Probably more than what my average is. All right, next up, let's take a look at my season fight summary. Greens, of course, are solos, and we have 1 yellow blemish there against the Node 49 Mysterio in war number 8. Very frustrating fight. Won't cover it again. Talked about it at length in that video. Now, when I think about my favorite fight from the season, I think I'm going to have to go with the Clairvoyant fight that I took with Silk back in War 3 against SGA. And if you remember back from that war video, I had accidentally taken in my rank 4 6-star unascended Silk on the war team instead of my rank 2 Silk. And I had only realized later that my rank 2 7-star Silk was in AQ, and that's why I wasn't seeing her in the list of champions. And I just, as soon as I saw a Silk, I just picked her, and didn't realize until actually after the Chavez fight there on the second node what I had done. So we kind of, we went into the Clairvoyant fight. It's a dangerous fight for anyone, but I was massively underpowered, of course, using a rank 4 unascended champ. But Silk is just so OP for this tactic. She absolutely crushed it. So that was, a bad situation that I put myself into, but it turned out to be just fine. I'm finding it extra difficult to pick out a least favorite fight from this season just because the attacker tactic is so OP. When I look at all the list here in front of me of tactic defenders that I fought, none of them really stand out as like being potentially dangerous or difficult. Like I did die to Mysterio, but it's too easy to pick a fight that I died to as my least favorite. The arcade fight with Overseer is, it was not that exciting. I think I'm going to go with the Maestro Mini with Chavez, and that's a fight, again, I've taken many times before. I don't particularly enjoy that fight just because it is just such a slow and tedious experience, because you don't have access to Chavez's special 2 and her big damage as a result. It's just a whole bunch of special 1 spamming. You're chipping him down little by little. It's like a 2 or 3 or 3.5 minute fight, even under like good boosting circumstances. So not particularly dangerous for her, but just like, you're getting the board like, 60 seconds in, you're like, what am I even doing here anymore? So we're going to go with that one for my least favorite fight. All right, moving on to my most used attackers. I almost said most assigned there. It should be no surprise to see who is number 1. Speaking of, most assigned, there were no assignments this season. So, when I was able to pick my own team for every single war this season and, control essentially how many fights I was doing with that champion, it's not surprising to see Void there in the number 1 spot with nearly 30 fights out of 48. And my only death this season was with him as well. And then, coming in at number 2, Ironheart, a distant second, 24 fewer fights with her. Chavez, Negasonic, and Silk rounding out the top 5. But, I'm really happy to be able to use Void so much this season. That was kind of one of my personal goals, for a season in which not only was he a tactic attacker, but one of the best tactic attackers. I wanted to make use of him as much as possible. I expect that to continue somewhat into next season. I do think that he'll be banned in a few wars, but probably not perma-banned. So hopefully I get to use him here and there for a bunch in Season 55. And then real quick, let's take a look at all the banned attackers from this season. I believe Photon and Titania are blacklisted for next season. Really no surprise there. I think Titania was blacklisted in the 2nd season of Decay, like the first time it came around, along with Hulk. Kind of surprised that Hulk didn't make it. Now for bans next season, I would expect Corvus to continue to be banned. Hulk probably banned almost, sure. Silk will be banned every war. Count Nefaria will be banned every war now that both of them are off the whitelist. And then I would probably say Null is up there as well. We might see a few Void bans here and there. Some alliances are going like full on into the Cosmic bans, which I found really strange. Miguel, I don't think we saw banned more than once this season, which was really strange. I expect maybe him to catch some bans next season as well. But overall, kind of, as expected for bans this season. And then the blacklist for next season, also pretty much expected. And then the last thing I want to show you is a view of all of my income and expenses this season with regard to loyalty. We didn't spend any units this season, which I was really pleased about. But even in a season where we went 2-7, still managed to come out in a net positive loyalty gain of nearly 200,000. And that really comes down to, I wasn't healing up to full after every fight. There were some fights where I was like, I don't really want to use a potion here. I don't really think I need to use a potion. And even when I died after Mysterio, I didn't heal Void back up to full. I just popped a 40% revive and just went in there. I was very, very, tight with the advanced power boost and the invuln boost this season. You can see I only used 2 invulns and 5 advanced power boosts, so that's way less than I normally use. So overall, very pleased with my expenses this season, and even more pleased, as I said a minute ago, with spending no units on anything in war this season. So this is the point in the video where I typically like to give a big thank you to all the officers and planners in SSX, specifically those in my beta group. However, as I mentioned at the start of the video, this is a bit of a different season for us. We weren't pushing. Our battle group didn't plan at all. We just kind of used a sign-up sheet. Pick the fights you want, pick the paths you want, make sure that the map is cleared. Don't stress about dying, don't stress about boosting. It was really, really casual for us. I think other battle groups may have treated it a little bit differently. And that being said, there's not really anybody to thank for planning and helping out in the battle group because we really didn't do much in terms of war this season. So I do want to spend this part of the video saying a farewell to somebody who will be leaving us before the next season begins, and that is my very good friend BitterSteel. So BitterSteel has been with this alliance, I think, for about, I want to say like a year or so, maybe more. And he recently uprooted his life, moved literally halfway around the world from the UK to Canada to become a ski instructor. And his schedule is, forgive the language, batshit crazy right now. And he approached us a couple weeks ago, said, he really doesn't feel like he has the time and the availability to devote to Tier 1 war anymore. And so he was going to be taking a step back for the time being. And I want to say I met Bitter for the first time last year at the Battle Realm Brawl in Vancouver. Just a genuinely great guy. We hit it off immediately. I was able to hang out with him again this past week in Vancouver at the Creator Summit. He was able to come down from where he lives for one of the days of the summit, which was really great. Just a really great guy, an incredibly talented player. I've taken a lot of tips and strategies from him, especially with Adam Warlock, who is a champion that I struggle with. Bitter's probably the most skilled Adam Warlock player in this game right now, and I stand by that. So really going to miss interacting with him on a day-to-day basis in the chats. He was added to our battle group a couple seasons ago now, 2 or 3 seasons ago, so actually getting to play with him day-to-day, war-to-war, I was really, really pleased about, and I'm glad I got the chance to do that. So, Bitter, if you're watching this, dude, I'm really going to miss you. You're a great friend, and keep that terrible Tal safe, and I hope you find your way back to SSX in the future. Best of luck to you, buddy. Folks, that's going to do it for another season of War Rewards. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, let me know by hitting that like button, and also, if you could, please leave me a comment telling me where you and your alliance finished this season. I'm always interested in hearing from subscribers, especially those that are consistently watching my war videos, where their alliances are finishing in the placement. So definitely leave me a comment sharing that with me if you wouldn't mind. Now, as for the war videos going forward, I talked about this in my previous video, my last war video, that is. I'm kind of 50-50 at the moment on whether or not I'm going to continue. I know that there are a good number of you who enjoy watching the war videos, who learn a lot from them, and so I am inclined from that perspective to keep them going. However, I do want to make a concerted effort in 2025 to focus more of my time on more like evergreen content, like champion guides. The champion guides are very popular. I have a whole bunch of people requesting guides for specific champions, and although the war videos are kind of like low effort, low hanging fruit in terms of production, the time I'm spending on those is time that I'm not spending on a guide. So kind of 50-50. Let me know in the comments below what you think about that. If you would miss the war videos, if you would rather have more guides, if that meant losing the war videos. And again, I'm kind of not leaning particularly one way or the other. So I will hear any and all convincing arguments. So until then, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again next time.